Hopefully we are pretty even, Steven. If not, we're gonna have a problem and I'm gonna be very mad. Speaking of anger, today I learned two very important things. One is that Google Docs for some reason doesn't have a dark mode, despite Google Drive having a dark mode. It pisses me off to a level that it shouldn't even be possible. A level that some would say is stupid. Which leads me to the second thing that I learned. Some people get mad for very stupid reasons. And I think this is most encapsulated when referring to games. People get mad at games. They throw their controllers, they smash their keyboards, they destroy their screens. It's silly to me. I never get mad. I don't get mad. I'm not an angry person. But 2 weeks ago, we got one of the stupidest, one of the most dumb and stupid examples of gamer rage that I've ever seen. And it's to the degree that it became illegal. So what am I talking about? About 2 weeks ago, there was this man by the name of Edward King. And Edward King was a gamer. He was a big gamer. He loved his games. He loved them a lot. And out of the games that he decided to play that led to this incident, it was a game known as ArcheAge. It's an MMO, so it has to deal with multiplayer. And while he was playing this game, the unthinkable happened. Edward got angry. He got furious. Now the reason why, nobody knows right now. He got so angry that he decided that the only way to relieve the rage in his heart was to find the person that wronged him in the game, go over to his house, and attempt to kill him. That is 100% right. That is not a joke. I'm not making this up. This is a man who got so angry in a video game that he attempted to kill the person that wronged him. So from what I can garner from the story, some of it is a little bit foggy, but from what I can gather from the information that's there, he left his home and then got in an Uber and then traveled, I believe it was 17 miles to this man's home. On the way there, though, he decided to go pick up a hammer and a flashlight. And once he found his way to the guy's home, he broke into his house, waited outside of his door, and as soon as the victim opened his doors, he was in a pouncing position with his hammer and then tried to bring it down on his head. In the ensuing struggle, the stepdad got woken up and then they both managed to get Edward to the ground and then restrained them until the police arrived. This is an insane story. I don't think I need to explain why it's crazy, but it is. Both the victim and Edward then went to the hospital, and then after that, they were both released, Edward into the custody of the police, and once he was there, he said the reason for why he decided to try to kill this guy was he was a quote-unquote bad person online. Aren't we all? The good news is that the victim didn't receive any life-threatening wounds. He managed to walk out. He was fine in the end, for the most part. And as a nice cherry on top, the MMO that this guy was playing, that Edward was playing, ArcheAge, it shut down on June 27th, and this was while he was in custody. So, to go back to where we all came, full circle, Edward got angry in this game, ArcheAge, and got so enraged that he decided to get an Uber, drive to this guy's house, try to kill him, then ended up getting arrested, was unsuccessful, and then this game that caused all of this strife ended up getting shut down while he was in the custody of the law. And to be clear, it didn't shut down because of this incident. It got shut down because the player count was very, very low. It was a dying game. So I think that just adds an extra level of stupidity to it all. And it's incredibly baffling because very rarely do we receive cases of like people getting so enraged in video games that they want to cause actual physical harm to their oppressors. It happened once in 2010, I believe, and I believe the game was CSGO, where a guy got angry in the game and then spent 6 months, so like half a year of his life, and those years, you know, they come and go. They are fickle little things. He spent 6 months of his life trying to track down this guy, eventually found him, got a knife, went to his front door, and as soon as he opened it, he stabbed him. The victim survived, and then the guy that stabbed him went away to jail for, I think it was something ridiculous, like 2 years, and then he had to do anger management courses. Law didn't exactly do its job, because the most interesting thing about this entire, what went down, is that we still don't know the reason. We don't know. All we know is that he was quote unquote a bad person online, which does not tell you jack. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. There's no reason that you should get so furious that you decide to cause physical harm to another person. And I think there's only like two that I can think of. It's this and the CSGO one that happened almost like 14 years ago, so over a decade ago. I'm sure there's other incidents here and there where people get like hurt. Regardless, it's stupid. It's the dumbest thing that I've ever read. But as of right now, we don't really know how this is gonna go. I sincerely doubt that he's gonna get off on this. I really don't think this is gonna be like the last case where the guy only got 2 years, because this guy was going in for the kill. Because on the way to his house is when he acquired the hammer and the flashlight, and I think also like a ski mask or something. I think that was mentioned at one point. But it's very premeditated. Very stupid. You know, people always try to tell you about the warning of online gaming, but usually that's because of stranger danger, because you don't know if somebody's a little, little pedo that's trying to find you. But apart from this being like a really stupid situation, it's also an incredibly scary situation, because this just kind of leads into, the dangers of being online at times. And I know people say like, oh, be careful when you're online, or at least that's what I was told when I was a kid. Be careful. They might want to find you and kidnap you with their white van. I sincerely doubt it. I used to be like, yeah, Mom, get out of here, you crazy old lady. You don't know anything about online. I do. I traverse. I'm an explorer. But then you read stuff like this, and then you start to wonder, maybe my mother was right. Because in both of these cases, and in this case specifically, they both took the time to travel to the location to cause harm, and in this case, to kill. It is an extremely concerning situation. But at the end of the day, the victim is fine. This guy hopefully goes away for a very, very long time. It looks like he's not going to be playing ArcheAge, which, boo-hoo. Which I think, and the last thing I'm going to say about this is something that was said by, I think it was the sheriff, because the guy, the first thing that he had on his mind once he got arrested was, how long am I gonna be arrested for? I think is what he asked. He was asking, how long do you think I will be in jail? How much time am I gonna be spending? And then the police officer or the sheriff or whoever they were responded, I don't think you're gonna be playing ArcheAge for a while. Which I think is a very, very funny line, and I'm sure that was very devastating for Edward to hear. And then he broke into tears going like, no. And something else I need to point out real quick that I forgot. I don't think it really adds any more credence to how stupid this is, but they were 20. So they were adults. So this isn't like a kid that in their childlike mind thought that, yeah, this is an appropriate response. No, these were adults, or this was an adult that knew better. I guarantee you most 20-year-olds are not thinking that I'm going to kill this guy as soon as, something bad happens to them in a game. We say it, we don't mean it. It's just talk. We're just having a goof. We're just being silly. We're just messing with you. Come on. I mean, we're not going to kill anybody. Regardless, it's going to be very interesting to see where this ends up. Hopefully, he spends a great many number of years in jail. But again, we're just going to have to wait and see. This thing is just, it just boggles my mind that this happened. But get your rage in check, guys. But that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, if indeed you still are. My name is Brockster, and I bid you all adieu.